Scooby and Shaggy, Mike Will, and Tyson Havronic.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Huddle Up here on Extreme Sports, and welcome to a Monday, the 30th of March for 2026. Ready to go? Ready to get your day started the right way with all the news, weather, and sports that you need to get out the door here this morning. Going to be talking about the Nebraska Red-White scrimmage on this Saturday as the Huskers wrap up their spring football practice. So that is coming up for you today. The Nebraska baseball team and the softball team, they were in action over the weekend. Likewise, the Hastings College baseball and softball teams were in action over the weekend. Had some high school baseball to tell you about from over the weekend. And, of course, we'll direct a lot of our attention to the NCAA men's college basketball tournament. We're down to the Final Four now after the weekend games. We'll bring you up to date. We've got a new leader in our bracket challenge for Extreme Sports. We'll tell you how the Blazing Five did over the weekend. So all that and more is coming up for you here this morning as you wake up with Mike Will and Tyson Havronic. I see we're having all kinds of problems with our cameras this morning.
That's cute, yeah. No.
We're having all kinds of problems with the cameras.
Well, you're
today.
sneaking over to my side again, and you're not on, thus half blacking me out here this morning. So move over. I need you to push that black curtain over.
Get off of your off of your lawn.
So I can get off my lawn.
Get off of your lawn.
You're in my lawn. Speaking of lawns, my neighbor was mowing. I laughed. Like he's already starting to do yard work. And I just chuckled. Any hoodles. What a weekend in sports. And wow, speaking of brackets and March Madness, and can we start with Duke? What the hell were you doing?
Yeah, what were they doing yesterday?
What were you doing in the final 2 minutes of that ball game? Like, that was this. It looked like they were just completely lost out there. They just unraveled, and a nightmare of circumstances to put UConn back in that game. UConn was toast. They were done. The first half adjustments, Duke sat there defensively, and they shut down UConn. They had that lead in the bag at halftime, and you're in cruise control, right? And here I am thinking, oh, man, I'm going to be bragging tomorrow. I'm going to be putting 3 of my 4 in the Final Four. We've got options. We've got outs. We're looking good. And then all of a sudden, you just shit the game down your leg in the final 30 seconds. The inbounds play, and then you get trapped, and rather than getting fouled to put you on the line to potentially win the game and ice it, you try to throw the ball away, lands right into UConn. It reminded me, it was an upset game a couple years ago. Very similar situation. I think Purdue they got beat by Furnham or something like that. Exact same scenario, right? Like the inbounds pass, and they just kind of chuck the ball away. All of a sudden, it lands in the other hand, and they're able to hit a 3 from half court to win it. Incredible stuff. And, comeback aside and all the excitement and everyone saying it's March and those kinds of things happen, they shouldn't. If Duke lost the game and they only have themselves to blame. That's not give credit to UConn for coming back and making the second half adjustments and playing through adversity. Nope. Duke shot themselves in the foot. They lost that game on their own and by themselves. That was a one that you look yourself in the mirror and you go, yeah, we did that. We lost that game. So, yeah, completely head-scratching in the final 2 minutes of that basketball game last night.
So UConn knocks off Duke 73-72 in one of the games played yesterday. Michigan over Tennessee in the other game, 95-62. The games on Saturday, it was Arizona over Purdue, 79-64, and Illinois knocked off Iowa 71-59. So we're down to the Final Four now in Indianapolis on Saturday. Illinois will play UConn in the first game, followed by Michigan and Arizona in the second game. So both games will be on TBS in Indianapolis. The Final Four coming up this week. So as the end result, as I was checking the bracket challenge, you and I are nowhere to be seen on our bracket challenge.
No, and it shouldn't have been that way. Like, we were in prime position. God, it feels like it's a fantasy NASCAR race all over again with the bracket challenge. You know, I was in prime position coming out of the second stage, right? Like, all I had to do is get Duke to win. And next thing you know, like, your bracket looks really pretty, and you're probably towards the top, and now it's decimated. So it's done. We can forget about Ty's bracket altogether now. In fact, every time that we come on the show, we don't even have to bring it up. I think that would be a great agreement that we can make right now. Let's just forget Ty even filled one out.
Can you pull up our bracket challenge?
Actually, no, I have no.
I can't get to my bracket challenge
knowledge
today.
of how to do that. So
maybe you don't have any knowledge how to do that. You go to our website and click on.
Yeah, we had to make a different profile.
Oh, jeez.
And I forgot what password I made for that. I actually forgot what email address I used for that. That's the problem with different profiles. You just need to be able to punch in and go. But I can look at the standings on the top three, and no, we're not there. But no, I have no idea. I'm not going to go search for mine today. IT guy can do that if he's bored.
I know Dennis Rosno is out on top now. He's our new guy.
Bottom of the screen, we got Dennis Rosno in front, Amber in second, husband and wife. That's cute. And then it looks like
I think we got somebody new in third place.
Brenna January.
Yeah,
Brenna January
has snuck into
her
third
third
place.
bracket. Brenna January 3. We gave you 5 chances. So Brenna January 3 in at third. So there you go.
We're nowhere to be found.
And no, we're not going to be in the top 3. Are you kidding me?
I think we looked last night.
I lost my champion.
Yeah, you were down in like 120th place. I was like in 43rd place as I lost some games. So one of my brackets, I've got Arizona still going. Arizona's still going in the Final Four, and I've got Arizona to win the championship, but I don't have anybody else in my Final Four, so the other 3 teams are not in. The other bracket, I have Arizona and Michigan both in, but I've got Duke winning the championship, so that's throw that damn thing away.
Dana, Amber, Brenna, Michaela, like KK Michaela? Ryan, Amber, Jared.
Oh, yeah, Ryan Martin is snuck into the top
Let's go.
top tier. It's a Dennis first, Amber second, then that's Brianna January. Michaela Vera is currently in 4th place. Ryan Martin is there. Amber is up there with another bracket, and then Jared Hackler.
Hack.
The Hack man, I saw him yesterday.
Hack attack.
Yeah, he was putting it to me yesterday. Saw him. He was in the top 10 at that point. He still is. And the 2 sports guys that think we know everything there is about sports were nowhere to be found.
It's
So
fine.
congratulations to Ryan Martin. He has snuck in to the top 5. And again, we'll be awarding prizes. The $10,000 grand prize is out the door because nobody's going to hit 60 games in the bracket challenge this year. But we do have some great things coming up for our top 4 point gatherers in our bracket challenge for 2026. Got cash going for all the top 4 places. We've got a 5-piece cooler set. We've got gift certificates to Bullseye Sports Bar and Grill, Miss Q's Sports Bar and Grill, and also District 14 beer and pizza. We have got 4 clubhouse seats to the Fauner Park races up in Grand Island going on April the 18th, courtesy of Creighton Gardens up in Grand Island. We got bottles of wine that we'll be giving away from Moletta Vista Winery just north of St. Paul. So all that and more is coming up. We got a portable grill and smoker that we're going to be giving away as part of our prize package, too. So the top 4 boat getters, not boat getters. Why do I keep saying boat getters?
I have no idea. Are you, like, in a hurry for election season?
No, I'm not. The top 4 placers in our challenge are going to all receive some special
Vote for me
gifts at the end of the contest. So
I'm in 120th. Vote for me. Vote for me anyway. It feels like exactly how the system works. You finish 120th and you still get into office.
Brett, no, let's go to the Blazing 5.
Go for it.
Well, I want to group this all together here so we're not bouncing around on the show today. Let's go to the Blazing 5 that we gave you last Thursday. I did well.
Good for you.
I take it that you're not in the same boat.
I also did okay.
I went 4-1.
Okay.
So maybe I'm a better predictor at basketball than I am at football. Because I stunk at football this year. We have the special edition of the Blazing 5 on Thursday.
Right.
I was 4-1. I was 1-1. No, I was 2-1 after Thursday. And then Friday I picked up the win with St. John's covering against Duke. I also picked up Tennessee over Iowa State. So I officially finished 4-1 in my Blazing 5 from last weekend.
Yeah, remember how I was like 2-0 on the day and had 3 games going. I dropped all 3 Friday. Duke doesn't cover against St. John's. Bama can't cover against Michigan. Michigan State can't cover against UConn. Bum, 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 bum.
So you go 2-3.
We go 2-3.
Don't worry, buddy. I held you up.
Every opportunity to take it to the distance, but
I held you up,
couldn't
buddy.
close. Couldn't close.
I was 4-1. Okay, so now we got. Are we gonna? Yeah, we'll do the Blazing 5, I guess, for this week. Can we do that?
There's only 4 games. There's only 2 games.
2 games.
There's only 2 games.
The chief says he went 2-3 as well.
He went 2-3 as well.
But we'll have the Blazing 5, but it won't be the 5.
The Blazing. We just want to do spreads and over-unders.
We could do that. That'd get us up to 4.
That'd be the 4 picks for the Final 4.
Yeah, that'd give us
your 4-leg parlay.
How about the flaming 4?
The flaming 4. How about the final? Oh wait, no, that's probably trademarked.
Yeah, well, the
Final 4 might be trademarked.
The flaming 4.
Flaming 4.
To go along with the Blazing 5.
Sure.
We'd have the flaming 4. Anyway, we'll have the picks on Thursday morning for the Final 4 coming up on Saturday in Indianapolis. The women's tournament, they're playing their games on Sunday and Monday to determine their Final 4. Yesterday, for the women, it was UConn beating Notre Dame 70-52, and UCLA beat Duke 70-58. So it was not a good day for Duke yesterday. Tonight, the other 2 games, Michigan will play Texas and TCU against South Carolina. Their Final 4 will be on Friday in Phoenix. So there's going to be women's basketball tonight. Michigan and Texas, TCU and South Carolina. Winners advancing to the Final 4 Friday in Phoenix. So that kind of brings you up to date on what's going on with the NCAA tournaments and our bracket challenge and our Blazing 5. It was a busy weekend for us.
Was that like the 25th straight Final 4 for UConn? Or something like that?
Yeah, they're good.
Like, incredible. Like, as much as we talk about the Alabama dynasty and the Nebraska volleyball dynasty, and we talk about all of these amazing programs, Patriots, NFL football, right? UConn women's basketball, like, has never not been good in my entire existence. And when I'm talking about good, we are achieving greatness. So they have never not been elite. Making the Final 4 again. I think I read somewhere 25 straight seasons under Gino at the helm. So incredible dynasty that he has just built there. That would be the 30 for 30 I want to see. Not the rise and fall of Wrexham football or the Patriots dynasty. Gonzaga, obviously, I think is another one of those programs that just continues to be. But obviously, their conference has allowed them to be. UConn women's basketball. Give me a 30 for 30 on that. Oh, and I'm on it all day.
The game I am looking forward to seeing, and I hope it happens. I don't know if UCLA and UConn, do they meet in the Final Four? Now that they're already in, I don't know if they will be matched up together or not. But UConn and UCLA should be a hell of a game for women's college basketball.
Looking. What time did you say the Final Four was?
It's going to be on Friday in Phoenix. Like I said, the other two games are tonight, Michigan and Texas, and TCU and South Carolina. So I'm not sure if UConn and UCLA are matched up with each other in the Final Four or not.
Yeah. And I'm a bad sports fan. I don't know.
You can't pull that up either?
I was looking to, but now I'm under pressure. And
that's why I was kind of stalling for you.
Yeah, you should keep stalling. You got like a disclaimer to read or something? NCAA women's
I've got it here.
Basketball.
Jeez, hold on.
The best days.
That's an advertisement.
Hold on. We could send a little advertisement too. What is Friday? Here it is. No, UCLA and UConn are on different sides.
Whew, it took a long time to get to that side.
So they'd have to win. They'd have to play for the national championship, which would be ideal.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
That would be ideal. It's unfortunate we don't get to see it on Friday, but if those two teams win, they would play for the national championship for women's basketball. That's the way it should be. UConn and UCLA, undoubtedly the two best women's college basketball teams for this season.
I think so. I think you're right. I think that's the matchup everybody kind of had circled. And I know a lot of people in their women's bracket were putting UCLA as the champ just to try to have a little something different. And then that mentality kind of swept. So I know a lot of people that were picking UCLA to win that. We obviously saw them in the Big Ten, and they were on a whole nother level. Nebraska makes the tournament, right? UCLA was elite. UCLA was up and over the top. And so, yeah, you'd love to see that matchup against UConn come Friday. No, this weekend.
God, look at, since my camera's not working, now I got my little caricature up there.
Oh, that's great.
It's kind of neat, isn't it?
Yeah.
402-834-1330 is our telephone number. If you'd like to chime in today, that's the Hamilton Telecommunications fan line, 402-834-1330. You'd like to chime in with your thoughts from the weekend, anything else on your mind today, give us a shout out. Love to talk to you. Some room on the show to discuss whatever is on your mind today. If you'd like to leave us a message on our social media sites, we're monitoring those comments as well. One other note, as long as we're talking about college basketball, Rick Pitino has signed a new deal with St. John's.
Let's go.
Includes an additional year. He's now under contract through the 29-30 season. Significant pay raise for Rick Pitino. He now becomes the Big East second highest paid coach after UConn's Dan Hurley. Of course, the Red Storm coming off of their first Sweet 16 appearance since 1999. The fourth program Pitino has taken to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. St. John's lost to Duke on Friday. Only the second defeat for Pitino in 14 visits to the Sweet 16. And just the second loss for this season's Red Storm in their final 23 games. Pitino is in the third year at St. John's, where he has a record of 81-25 and 2 NCAA tournament appearances. So St. John's head coach Rick Pitino is staying put. I'm sure St. John's probably wanted to get him under contract on a contract extension. There's some big-name college programs that will be looking for some head coaches here, and they wanted to make sure Rick Pitino is locked up right after the NCAA tournament for them, and that's what they did yesterday.
Deservedly so. They had that great moment against Kansas, and just love seeing Rick get back into the swing of things. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of social media highlight clips, whether it's pregame chatter or halftime chatter, and he's still got the fire, still got the passion for it. So, Rick's gonna give it a go until at least 2030 there with the contract extension, and excited. He's just one of the guys that you love having in the game, man. One of those coaches that is on that short list of great names when it comes to blue bloods in basketball. So I love seeing him back. I want to quickly get to the Chiefs' comment. Chief has commented on the Duke loss 2 years in a row now for Duke with lost leads. He says, put Boozer and your best free throw shooters on the court and go win the game. Absolutely. And they didn't do that. They got trapped and they tossed the ball away. They buckled under pressure. It reminded me a lot of the North Carolina game, and I thought that after the North Carolina loss earlier this season, that Duke had kind of flushed that and figured out how to win those games because they came back on fire, like they were pissed off, and immediately ascended to the number 1 spot and looked like they weren't going to give it up. And I even told you, man, like going into the weekend, I said Duke has had those 2 close calls, right? You had the close call against Siena just in the very first game. The second game didn't look too much better for the Blue Devils, and so I thought they kind of flushed that. You had a week to get that out of your system. First round, Sweet 16 game looked real good. Looked real good against St. John's. That's a tough St. John's team. Then you battle back and you get into that place where you just, again, pissed it down your leg because you forgot how to play basketball all of a sudden in the last 3 minutes. They were in such cruise control. And it's so mind-boggling how you can have a complete difference of halves. It reminded me, I guess, a lot of Nebraska in the final 3 minutes against Iowa, if you want to be truthful about it, which makes it even more of a gut punch. So, yeah, wild weekend in terms of basketball as we slide into next topic.
Yeah, how many people had Duke winning their challenge?
This guy, me.
Well, at the beginning of the challenge between the Duke and Arizona, even in our challenge,
it's like 36%.
Yeah, a majority of the people had either Duke or Arizona winning the national championship this year. Now one of the biggies ousted is Duke. Both the men's and women's programs losing over the weekend, so that's not good. The Nebraska football team held their red-white scrimmage on Saturday.
Practice.
Did you have a chance to catch any of that?
No, I didn't.
I didn't even know until this morning that it was not really the red-white game.
Uh-huh.
It was Team Nebraska and Team Huskers.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that was a curveball right off the bat. I didn't catch anything because I had a high school baseball game on Saturday. And
we were softballing.
Yeah, you were busy as well. So I just know what I am reading right now. Anyway, awesome. Team Nebraska beat Team Huskers 22-17. Connor Booth evidently ran 32 yards for the game-winning touchdown on the final offensive play of the game to give Team Nebraska the win over Team Huskers. Booth finished the day with 82 yards on 15 carries. Freshman Jamal Rule led all rushers with 119 yards on just 9 carries. He's a freshman out of, I think, South Carolina. Anthony Calandria, our new quarterback, completed 12 of 19 passes for 80 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. So those are the highlights from the Nebraska spring football game. Yeah, I guess a freshman, Jamal Rule, looked pretty good. We'll get some comments from the coach on the Jamal coming up here after our news break. But Nebraska football, spring football is now in the books. Matt Rule talked about the next 4 to 5 weeks for his football team.
Okay.
And then they'll head into their summer program. So anyway, spring football in the books. I heard the crowd was not as big as the crowds have been in the past for a spring football game.
I was also hearing the crowd were not as big, but then I heard conflicting reports on that from people that were trying to defend the spring practice. I'm always going to call it a spring practice. Listen, man, I think the reality of the situation is starting to set in, right? Although this would have been a great year to sell out Memorial Stadium for a quote-unquote practice, because of the proceeds getting donated for the wildfires, what it comes down to is people aren't going to pay $10 to go watch practice and drive up to go see a practice.
Well, number one, there was softball going on. There was baseball going on. The weather was crappy.
Well, yeah, 40-mile-an-hour winds. I'm not sitting in Memorial Stadium for that.
Yeah, so the weather was crappy. And even the people that may have been on the fence, should we go, shouldn't we? There was a lot going on Saturday.
Well, they moved it up like 3 months, or 3 weeks, excuse me.
Yeah, 3 weeks, so it was earlier.
They pushed up the spring game, and the rollout wasn't great. And obviously, you look at reasons why. Nebraska making a Sweet 16, all attention has been focused on Nebraska basketball, and rightfully so. Meanwhile,
even on this show,
right?
We haven't talked a whole lot.
We haven't talked about the softball team that just knocked off UCLA over the weekend, a 2 to 3 game series. Nebraska looked better than UCLA, and UCLA came in with a 22 game winning streak. So, I think we're going to be talking about a national tournament softball team. I truly believe that. I think we could be talking about a national tournament baseball team, at least in terms of super regional, somewhere where we've never been in a long time. I think this baseball team is capable of that. People are just taking the sports as they come because we're having so much success in the other sports where that traditionally wasn't a thing, and all you had to look forward to in Nebraska was football as a football fan. And now all of a sudden these Husker programs are popping up left and right, and football is kind of getting forgot about till August. I'll be brutally honest with you.
Yeah, not
I don't care right now,
and I don't think Nebraska cares either.
No,
the spring football is what it is. It's practice.
Yep.
And Nebraska, for the most part, has been very, very quiet during the spring, although there's a lot of question marks. We brought in new coordinators, and we have a new quarterback. Normally, on a normal year, we would be all over that. We'd be wanting to know what our new defense is going to look like. We're going to be wanting to know what our new quarterback looks like. But it has been very, very quiet, and I'm sure they don't care.
Is that going to be an advantage for Matt Rule going into 2026-27 season?
That has been quiet.
It's been super quiet. Media hasn't been focused. They've been able to work on things.
Maybe that's what they want.
You'd hope, right?
Maybe that's what because he really didn't say a whole heck of a lot in these comments I'm going to give you in just a little bit on his.
He's always been cagey in the spring.
Yeah, he has.
He always has been so much so that he canceled a spring game last year. So he gets cagey for preseason comments, and I'm curious.
All right. So you're waking up with Mike and Tyson here this morning. This is Huddle Up on Extreme Sports for a Monday. And we'll get some comments from Matt coming up here in just a couple of minutes. We got lots more to get to, so stay with us. It's Huddle Up on a Monday for Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning news update on Extreme Sports.
Well, we continue to focus on the Nebraska Sandhills today, where communities are coping with grief and loss after the devastating wildfires, while also showing signs of resilience and hope. Ranchers describe the destruction as deeply personal, comparing the loss of land, livestock, and livelihoods to losing a loved one. The fires have burned hundreds of thousands of acres, forcing families to rebuild and rethink their futures. But amid the devastation, neighbors and volunteers are stepping up, offering support, supplies, and encouragement. Even as recovery begins, many say the emotional toll will last long after the flames are out, highlighting both the hardship and strength of rural Nebraska. Nebraska health officials urging residents impacted by ongoing wildfires to seek mental health support as the recovery continues. The Department of Health and Human Services says emotional distress like anxiety, trouble sleeping, and lingering trauma is common after disaster. Officials are encouraging people to reach out for help, emphasizing that asking for support is a sign of strength. Resources include the 988 crisis line and disaster distress helpline, both offering 24/7 assistance. Counseling services are also being made available in the affected communities as the state works to support both residents and first responders during open wildfire response. It is 7:30. Let's head over to the East Side Studios. Mike, what's going on in sports?
As I mentioned, the Nebraska football team celebrated the end of spring practice with a 118-play scrimmage in their annual red-white game on Saturday at Memorial Stadium. Connor Booth capped his second-half rally for Team Nebraska's 22-17 win over Team Huskers, sprinting 32 yards for a game-winning touchdown on the final offensive play of the game. Booth finished the day 82 yards on 15 carries. Freshman Jamal Rule led all rushers with 119 yards and just 9 carries. Anthony Calandria completed 12 of 19 passes for 80 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Nebraska baseball team swept Indiana over the weekend at Hawks Field, winning by scores of 6-5, 12-7, and 12-4. Nebraska is now 22-6 in the season, 8-1 in the conference. They'll play at Creighton tomorrow night. First pitch will be at 6. The Nebraska softball team went 2-1 against UCLA over the weekend. The Huskers won the game on Friday 4-1, but lost Saturday 6-5 and won on Sunday 8-4. Nebraska is now 26-6. They're 8-1 in the conference. They'll also play at Creighton tomorrow night. First pitch will be at 5. Hastings College baseball team went 1-3 at Northwestern. The Broncos are now 16-14, 4-8 in the conference. They'll play at Midland on Thursday. Hastings College softball team dropped a pair of games to Dordt on Friday and split 2 games with Waldorf on Saturday. Hastings is now 11-14. They are 2-6 in the conference. They'll play at Concordia on Wednesday. The Nebraska Kearney softball team split 2 games with Missouri Western on Saturday. Lopers are now 13-22. They are 2-4 in the MIAA. They'll play at Emporia State on Friday. The Adams Central baseball team lost to Blair 11-1 on Saturday in the championship game of the Elkhorn tournament. The Patriots are now 5-2 and will play Holdridge and Palmyra in a triangular tomorrow out at the Smith Complex. Hastings High baseball team lost to Lincoln Lutheran 1-0 on Saturday. Tigers are now 1-4. They'll play at Central City Centura tomorrow. That's a check on your sports headlines coming up on 7:33 on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning weather update on Extreme Sports with Chief Meteorologist Tim Jones.
Precipitation chances are in the forecast, and that's great news for south central Nebraska. As we get back to the grind today on Monday, we'll have a high in the mid-80s. More clouds as we go through the day. South-southwest winds 5 to 10, becoming east in the afternoon. 47 for the overnight low tonight. Tuesday will be windy. We'll have north winds 20 to 30, gusting to 40 miles per hour with a high around 60 degrees. And then Tuesday night, Wednesday, and Thursday, we'll have a chance of rain, snow, mix, rain, or all of the above.
Right now in Hastings, we've got southwest winds at 5 miles per hour. Partly cloudy. It's 48 in Hastings at Extreme Sports.
Hi guys, this is Justin Consrick with Adam Marshall Land and Auction. Just want to talk to you about how we do things. I talk to farmers every day. A lot of guys just want a simple, honest way to sell equipment. That's why I work with Adam Marshall Land and Auction. We know the equipment, we know the buyers. We run real auctions with no buyer's fees, which brings in more bidders and stronger results. From one machine to the full lineup, we handle marketing, the details, the sales start to finish. We're just real people with real auctions, real results. If you're thinking about auctioning equipment, reach out and give us a call at 308-991-5429.
Looking for the perfect spot before or after the game? Head to Miscue's Sports Bar and Grill in Hastings. Choose from your favorite sandwich or build your own burger or chicken sandwich just the way you like it. Your choice of cheese, sauces, and all your favorite toppings. Craving wings? Choose from over 20 sauces and rubs that bring the flavor every time. Grab an appetizer, catch the game on the big screens, or challenge your friends to a game of pool or darts. There's always something to do. And don't forget the daily lunch specials. Miscue's Sports Bar and Grill, 316 South Elm. Great food, great games, and the perfect hangout in Hastings.
I'm John Butler, funeral director and owner at Livingston Butler Volland Funeral Home and Cremation Center in Hastings.
And I'm Nikki Butler, the advanced funeral planning specialist. Whether you choose a traditional service, cremation, or a unique memorial service, our experienced staff is here to help guide you through every step. Visit us at lbvfh.com to learn more about our services and how we can support you.
Livingston Butler Volland Funeral Home and Cremation Center. We are here when your need is greatest.
Hamilton has been providing IT solutions for businesses across the state of Nebraska for more than 3 decades. We know that Nebraska businesses are a driving force of support for the communities in which we live and work. We keep them connected and protected by delivering cybersecurity, hosted phones, and managed IT. We are grateful to be part of our Nebraska communities and to support their technology needs.
More information at
Get ready for the ultimate trivia experience with Extreme Sports Trivia. Play from anywhere at home, on the go, or at your favorite bar or restaurant. Compete live against players from all over in real time, answering questions across categories like sports, pop culture, Marvel, and more. Want to see how you stack up? Track your progress with live leaderboards and aim for the top spot. It's free, fun, and super easy to play. So what are you waiting for? Sign up today at extremesports.com trivia and start playing now. And keep an eye out. We're coming soon to a bar or restaurant near you.
All right, Mike Will and Tyson Abronic with you. It's a Monday here on Extreme Sports. Welcome to Huddle Up again. Thanks for joining us wherever you may be here today. We've got some baseball coming up this week. We'll have a softball later on. We'll let you know about the broadcast schedule when we finalize things later on today. Let's talk Husker football. Again, Nebraska holding their annual red-white game over the weekend. Team Nebraska against Team Huskers. A little different spin of things here. Team Nebraska beat the Team Huskers, as I mentioned, 22-17. After the scrimmage, head coach Matt Rule talked to us, and he said it was basically a pretty good spring for his football team.
I'm proud of the guys. I thought they had a really good spring. I thought it looked like football out there. I think we had 92 guys that were dressed and could play. So certainly not the numbers, we've had historically, but with the new rules and all that, it's a little bit less. But we were able to get a lot of guys a lot of reps. So good for us to coach off of and teach off of. And the great thing about this year now is we have 5-6 weeks now here of training and work that we can go back and anybody who's banged up can get healthy. And but more importantly, we've seen these guys now. We know what they do well. We know what they need to improve on, whether it's in the weight room, their body weight, position-wise, anything. So happy with the spring.
And the coach said the team played with good tempo in the scrimmage on Saturday.
I'm always in favor of tempo. Being a guy who's on defense, I think it's a tremendous neutralizer. I just think a lot of times when they had a good first down play, I think Dana just wanted to capitalize on it and, get another play ran. I think, he's been mixing it in. And so it's not something I think we're going to go wholeheartedly to, but I think it's something that we've done here and there. And I think it'll always kind of depend upon the opponent and the game. But it's something that we've been doing this spring, and I think it fits the players that we have.
And Anthony Calandria completed 12 of 19 passes for 80 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. The coach says that Calandria and the other quarterbacks were able to escape the pocket, and he was happy with that.
He's done that all spring, as has TJ, as has Danny, really, and Bodie. I think, when you see one guy doing it, it kind of becomes contagious. It's so hard on a defense, especially, quarters-based defenses where you're kind of always playing 3-over-2 and you're doubling receivers. It's a great way to neutralize that. Some of those were off of, a couple times it was off of zone reads, where we have a zone read and, there's a throw option usually with those, but a lot of them were just in drop back. I know in the 2 minutes before the half, he was yelling at me because he felt like he wouldn't have been tackled when I blew the whistle. But yeah, he's got a unique gift, and he gets outside there. And I think our receivers recognize that. They're fighting to get open. They're fighting to, even the one, it was a naked, but he got out there, he kind of bought time. He threw the ball down the field and at least gave us a shot in the end zone. So it's something that we now are adding to our offense, which I think really the good teams in college football always have.
All right, now we rushed for 374 yards in the scrimmage, 5.8 yards per carry. Now, was it great offense or poor defense for the Huskers?
I think some of those were there was 2 big long hits at the end, which they still have to stop them. But I've been really pleased with the first 2 defenses. I was on the BTN call, I think maybe in the third quarter, and I was saying, the spring game can sometimes be vanilla. I thought the defense was doing a good job of limiting him to 3-4 yards here and there. And then obviously I said there were no big hits, and as I said that, Jamal took one about 80, so I might have jinxed Rob and the fellas. But I think the defense has done a really nice job. I didn't see a lot of missed tackles out there. I didn't see busts. What I did see at the end, like I said, a couple big runs with the 2s and the 3s. But we have the ability, we have a really good offensive line. We have good tight ends. We have receivers who will block, and we have backs. I've got a lot of questions about backs, whether it's in here, but mainly, when I go to the store, if you catch me at a bar or a restaurant, and people ask me about the running backs, and I think, we kind of on record, we feel like we have good backs. And I think we saw all of them do something positive today. And I think Jeep and Lonnie have brought some new things in, so we're doing some different things, things that Jeep did at Georgia Tech that maybe diversify our run game, which makes it harder to stop.
And Jamal Rule was the leading rusher in the ball game, 119 yards on just 9 carries.
Jamal had a really good spring, and what he looked like today, he looked like all spring long. He's very conscientious. He's big. He's tough. He's fast. Got home run ability. I think the biggest thing, though, is, like I said, he's tough. Like, he doesn't mind contact. He put himself through the spring in position to compete to play in the fall, I think, which is all you can do as a freshman, right? So he's got 6 weeks here to train, to continue to build his body up. Emmett was an absolute anomaly, what he did last year, just in terms of playing so much. We probably would never think to do that, but he just had a unique gift. Never really, his contact balance and his lateral change of direction, he never really took a big hit. But I thought you saw today more of like how we probably would play. Hey, 4 or 5 plays with this guy, get this guy in. Hey, third down, get this guy in. And I thought you saw them all, all make plays. But Jamal's certainly preparing to play this year as a freshman.
All right, spring ball is in the books, and now the coach looks ahead to what is next. He says there's still a lot of work to do.
Yeah, we go back to training. Yeah, where this is not like a. Sometimes when the spring game was later, we kind of after that would kind of recover. Like we are in the sprint, and it's different for each person. Maybe right now, some guys, hey, you get a little bit stronger. Hey, you got to get a little healthier. Hey, you got to lose some weight, gain some weight. So it'll be very prescriptive to each person. I think that's the best part of what we did. We didn't do anything without studying it really, really hard. And Mitch Cholowinski, who was our sports science guy, he left to go back home to Pitt. Take over the whole athletic department's sports science, but and you guys have never heard me talk very much about someone who's left. I usually kind of move on, love him, but Mitch was instrumental, really, in everything we've done. But in this, the decisions we made, and so then Corey has a great plan, Kristen has a great plan, and the guys, they've got to go. We'll be back in there Monday morning, starting, I think 7:30 team meeting and back to work. So. The first week to work might be a little different, but we've got to train. We've got to get stronger. We've got to get healthier. And each guy knows what they have to work on.
All right, that's Husker head coach Matt Rule following the spring football game on Saturday. So it's in the books, and now they move on to the next phase of their preparations for the 2026 season. Back in the training room today. In fact, having a team meeting right now at 7:30.
There you go.
All right, that's what's the story for Nebraska football. And now, I guess you can kind of put it on the back burner for a while.
Yeah, we got good baseball and softball that are going to get us through the itch here as we move along in the spring sports season. Again, softball 2 of 3 on the weekend. Got the rubber match yesterday against UCLA. Jensen looks good as a freshman. Jordy Fromm, who came in and closed the door. It was a home run derby yesterday for the hitters. Kamazin went yard. Jensen went yard. Fromm goes yard. Just a good-looking softball team, and I think that's going to be a team that makes a lot of noise. Again, you knocked off a team that had a 22-game winning streak coming into to Lincoln. Obviously, you got a little assist from the wind blowing out, but UCLA had wind blowing out too, and they couldn't touch Nebraska pitching yesterday. So, big win for the Big Red. Baseball gets a sweep against Indiana. They're rolling, 22-6 on the campaign for Will Bolton, the Husker baseball team. An offense that looks as dangerous as anybody that I've seen in the country, and I put eyeballs on a lot of college baseball teams, Mike. I watch a lot of ball around here, and Nebraska's got an offense that's with the best of them. Pitching is obviously going to be the main thing. When we turn it over to the bullpen, I love our starting rotation that goes and takes the rock. Bullpen, you kind of hold your breath a little bit, but baseball's playing well, and so it's going to be one of those funny seasons where we're going to talk about football when it's time to talk about football, and we don't often do that. Like I said earlier, in Nebraska, sometimes it's time to talk about football the minute that we hit February because basketball is such a disappointment, and the spring sports haven't really been at the level, but now they're pushed themselves into national contenders. What a great year, like for athletics as a whole, for Nebraska. A Final Four in volleyball, basketball, 2 teams that make the national tournament. Obviously, the eyeballs and attention is going to be on Fred Hoiberg and what he was able to do and picking up the historic season that Nebraska men's have. But then you slide right over to softball and baseball, and all indications are that these 2 teams are going to be competitive at the national level in both those sports. So it's going to be a weird season where I think we'll get to football in about a month to hype us up for the season.
When it's time to talk.
When it's time to talk football.
Yeah, I think all eyes right now will be on Fred and what he's going to do during the offseason with his roster, who we're going to keep, who we're going to lose, who we're going to go after, who we're going to bring in here. It's something that we probably don't worry about or talk about a whole lot during this time of the year because we just kind of flush the Nebraska basketball season away. But after the success that we had this year, everybody's going to be concerned about who's bringing in, who's staying. So as they continue to put their 2020.
A lot of people are concerned about Frager for some reason, worried that Frager might transfer. And I've had no indication or any inclination that he has any intention to do so. A Nebraska kid, I think, obviously you were a key pivotal player off the bench this year for Nebraska, and maybe that's the reason that a lot of people think he's going to transfer because he didn't like starting the season on the bench. But there's no indication from anybody that we're going to lose anybody. Obviously, programs come calling with NIL money, but
yeah, you never can tell.
I just think this is such a fun bunch. And you're losing a couple spots, and so I think we're going to have to go to the portal and bring 1 or 2 in. Man, I really love what Tom Izzo said, though, over the weekend. And I don't know if you caught these comments. He was talking about the portal, and the first question they asked Michigan State after they lost this weekend was, how soon do you go to the portal? And he goes, I'm going to go to the portal tomorrow, but my portal is different from the NCAA portal. My portal is in my locker room, and I'm going in. I'm making sure that we're getting together collectively as a unit, as a group, and figuring out what we want to do and who we're going to approach. And we need to know right then and there who we need to go after. And so those are the meetings, and those are the coaches that are doing this right, that are going in and saying, we've established we're going to sit down as a unit and talk this out. Because what we have is a national championship contender, and I truly believe that. I believe that with Nebraska. If we can get the right guys to stay and bring the right pieces in to replace the seniors we've lost, we can get right back to where we left off and keep going to work here. So, yeah, brand new era in college basketball, and you're right. Normally, the off season would not be so much of a concern, but when we are so close to the cusp of greatness, I think we've got eyeballs collectively on what's Fred doing. What's Fred doing? And then pushing yourself a little further. How's Rhonda going to utilize these two pitchers, these two aces? You have a 1A and 1B now for your softball team. And that's something we haven't had before. And what's that going to do in terms of our success at the regionals and the super regionals and possibly beyond? Can this team go to OKC? I believe they can. Nebraska baseball, same feel. I think we'll get to football in July. I really do.
That's all right.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, that's all right. Waking up with Mike and Science Center this morning. This is Huddle Up on Extreme Sports. Again, if you'd like to chime in, something we've talked about or something on your mind today, 402-834-1330, 402-834-1330. That's the Hamilton Telecommunications fan line. If you'd like to chime in with us, you can. Lots of folks in the lobby chiming in with comments. Racing from over the weekend. How's your fantasy racing?
I thought I did good. And then I looked at the leaderboard and it's like, no, you suck. I had two drivers in the top 5, which is kind of a rarity. But then the rest of the team stunk so bad and I couldn't pick up the meaningful points that I needed. We did finish above you. I did notice that.
I didn't have a great weekend. I had one crash where it took out 2 of my 4 drivers.
Dude, the crash took me out. And it was my driver that did it, so I was kind of pissed. Bubba just...
I had Bubba.
What are you doing? You're driving right into the back of the guy, and he never lets off the gas. And
well, Hoetzifer is a guy who has created a lot of chaos during his time in the NASCAR circuit. I think that was a payback.
Bubba just straight drove through the back of him.
I think Bubba found a nice spot for a payback, and...
Yep, I had Bubba.
I just wish I didn't have Bubba and Hoetzifer in my lineup.
Oh, you had? Oh,
I had them both.
They took each other out.
Yeah, they took each other.
Oh, geez, that's neat.
That's why tires and whatever my
beer
name
tires,
is.
Bad decisions. More hops than horsepower. We put 2 in the top 5. Didn't have Elliott on the bingo card, so
we're at the bottom of the standings.
Yep.
Chase Elliott won the NASCAR race at Martinsville yesterday. He wins the grandfather's clock. That's what they got for. That's what you get when you win at Martinsville. You win a big old grandfather's clock.
The Cookout 500.
Yep. Chase won. I should be wearing my Chase Elliott sweatshirt today. Of course, nobody will be able to see it because my camera's not working. Denny Hamlin was second, followed by Joey Logano, Ty Gibbs, and William Byron.
I know you got a lot of Hamlin fans in the live lobby, and
we were with him yesterday.
He dominated. He dominated the entire race until the final 30 laps.
Chase made a pit strategy move late in the race and got him ahead, and he held off Denny Hamlin, who finished second. So that brings you up to on NASCAR. We had softball over the weekend. You had Hastings College. They lost 2 games against Dort on Friday, came back and split 2 games against Waldorf on Saturday. I got to see a little bit of that following my high school game. And Hastings College kind of surprised, I think, in the first game against Waldorf, and they came back and thumped them in the second game.
Yep, got one bad inning. Just one bad inning and really unraveled things. Waldorf put up a 9 spot, and I think they had more hits in that inning than they've had all season. That came in with a record of 2-20, and that's again no knock on Waldorf. That's a weekend series where you have to sweep the Warriors, and they couldn't get it done. But credit the resiliency; they bounced back in game 2 and get the sticks going and put Waldorf to bed. And then first weekend series, you're going up against Dort. Dort's just so damn good.
Yeah, they're good.
They're good at everything. Their softball team, I think that Hastings College is a good softball team. On the eyeballs, they play the right way. They're a good softball team. Dort's a great softball team. Dort, they executed everything. They have no weaknesses. Dort's going to be a contender, not just in the Great Plains Athletic Conference. Dort's going to be a contender on the national level. I just watching them this weekend, they were unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I had a high school game on Saturday. Hastings High losing to Lincoln Lutheran by a score of 1-0. Good game played at Duncan. Adams Central's baseball team was on the road. They played in the Elkhorn tournament over the weekend. They got to the championship game and ran into evidently a pretty good Blair team as the Bears beat Adams Central by the score of 11-1. So the Patriots now 5-2 on the season. They're going to play a triangular tomorrow against Holdridge and Palmyra. So that was what's going on locally as far as baseball and softball was concerned. 7:55, waking up with Mike and Tyson this morning. This is Huddle Up on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning news update on Extreme Sports.
Starting along Highway 2 in Nebraska's Sandhills, where communities are coping with grief and loss after devastating wildfires, but also showing signs of resilience and hope. Ranchers describing the destruction as deeply personal, comparing the loss of land, livestock, and livelihoods to losing a loved one. The fires have burned hundreds of thousands of acres, forcing families to rebuild and rethink their futures. But amid the devastation, neighbors and volunteers have stepped up, offering support and supplies and encouragement. Even as recovery begins, many say the emotional toll will last long after the flames are out, highlighting both the hardship and strength of rural Nebraska. Meanwhile, health officials are urging residents impacted by the ongoing wildfires to seek mental health support as recovery continues. The Department of Health and Human Services says emotional distress like anxiety, trouble sleeping, and lingering trauma is common after disasters. Officials are encouraging people to reach out for help, emphasizing that asking for support is a sign of strength. Resources, including the 988 crisis line and the disaster distress helpline, both offering 24/7 assistance. Counseling services have also been made available in the affected communities as the state works to support both residents and first responders during the ongoing wildfire response. It is coming up on 7:57 over to the East Side Studios. Mike, what's going on in sports?
Again, in the NCAA basketball tournament yesterday, Michigan beat Tennessee 95-62, and UConn upset Duke 73-72. On Saturday, Arizona defeated Purdue 79-64, and Illinois beat Iowa 71-59. So in the Final Four on Saturday, Illinois will play UConn, and Michigan will take on Arizona. In the women's tournament yesterday, UConn beat Notre Dame 70-52, and UCLA defeated Duke 70-58. Tonight, Michigan will play Texas, and TCU will battle South Carolina. The Nebraska baseball team swept Indiana over the weekend at Hawks Field, winning by scores of 6-5, 12-7, and 12-4. Nebraska down 22-6, 8-1 in the conference. They'll play at Creighton tomorrow night. First pitch will be at 6. The Nebraska softball team went 2-1 against UCLA over the weekend. Huskers won the first game on Friday 4-1, lost Saturday 6-5, and won on Sunday 8-4. Nebraska is down 26-6. They are 8-1 in the conference. They'll also play at Creighton tomorrow night. First pitch will be at 5. Hastings College baseball team went 1-3 at Northwestern. The Broncos are now 16-14. 4-8 in the conference. They'll play at Midland on Thursday. Hastings College softball team dropped a pair of games to Dordt on Friday and split 2 games with Waldorf on Saturday. Hastings is now 11-14, 2-6 in the conference. They'll play at Concordia on Wednesday. That's a check in your sports headlines at 7:58 on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning weather update on Extreme Sports with Chief Meteorologist Tim Jones.
Precipitation chances are in the forecast. Precipitation chances are in the forecast, and that's great news for south central Nebraska. As we get back to the grind today on Monday, we'll have a high in the mid-80s. More clouds as we go through the day. South-southwest winds 5 to 10, becoming east in the afternoon. 47 for the overnight low tonight. Tuesday will be windy. We'll have north winds 20 to 30, gusting to 40 miles per hour with a high around 60 degrees. And then Tuesday night, Wednesday, and Thursday, we'll have a chance of rain, snow, mix, rain, or all of the above.
Southwest winds this morning at 5 miles per hour. Partly cloudy, 48 in Hastings at Extreme Sports.
Trouble's brewing at Elbow Bend, and somebody's about to get fleeced. This is Mick with Miletta Vista Winery announcing our mystery dinner tickets are now on sale for the Golden Fleecing, Wild West Murder Mystery. So get your tickets at Miletta Vista Winery's events page. Come dressed as your best cowboy or saloon girl garb. Enjoy a great meal, a glass or two of hooch, and help solve the crime before the night's over. But watch your back, buddy. The outlaw might be sitting at your table. The Golden Fleecing Mystery Dinner at Miletta Vista Winery, March 28th, April 18th.
Connet Auto Care is the trusted name in automotive repair and maintenance services in Hastings. We're a gold-certified Napa Auto Care Center. Our ASE-certified technicians have the Blue Seal of Excellence, receive continuous training, and are committed to providing the best service your vehicle can get. Whether it's preventative maintenance, major repairs, or just an oil change, Connet Auto Care is here for you.
When it comes to protecting what matters most, you need a team you can trust. At Jones Group Insurance in Kennesaw, they're committed to helping individuals, families, and businesses plan for today and prepare for tomorrow. From home, auto, and farm insurance to life coverage and retirement planning, the Jones Group takes the time to understand your goals and build a plan that fits your future. Local service, personalized guidance, trusted protection. Call Jones Group Insurance today and experience the difference a hometown team can make.
All right, Mike Will, Tyson and Vronick here on a Monday morning. Huddle up on Extreme Sports. Again, we brought you up to date on the bracket challenge. We've got a new leader. Dennis Rosno is now the new leader of our bracket challenge going into the Final Four weekend.
Rigged.
Amber's in second. Amber Rosno.
Rigged.
Brenna, what was our third place contestant? Brenna is third.
January.
Brenna January is third. Michaela Vera is in fourth place. Ryan Martin has snuck into the top five. I think he's tied for fourth. Then Jared Hackler is also among the top 10. So that's going into the final weekend.
I'm toast. I have Arizona getting to the championship. That's the only remaining game I have left. Would be Arizona beating Michigan. That's it. Yeah, it's done.
It's toast.
Illinois was in the Final Four. I had Illinois was with Duke. That should have been the matchup. We'd have been sitting really pretty right now if all Duke had to do was pick up that victory. But that loss. You can't lose your Final Four and champion.
No,
you can't lose them in this stage. It's going to come down to the champ. So
you're out. I don't think you really improved off of your page 3 status from last year.
I put myself in position to win. That's all I'll say. I'll put myself in position to win.
What's that supposed to mean?
That's coach speak, baby.
That is coach speak.
That's coach speak. We put ourselves in position. All we had to do was execute. We just failed to execute down the stretch. And
you finished. You're in 120th place.
Now we put ourselves in position to win, and it didn't work out. So we have to take this one on the chin, and we have to focus on us, and we have to get better.
You got to look yourself in the mirror.
Dude, I have coach speak down.
That's coach speak at his best right there.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Coach speak at his best for some guy that finished probably not in the top 100 of our bracket challenge. That's golden coach speak talk right there.
Thank you.
So, anyway, if you'd like to listen to the show again, you can. I had some comments from Husker head coach Matt Rule on the show here today. Listen to those comments as the Huskers wrapped up a spring football practice on Saturday. We got lots of stuff coming up throughout the week here on the show. Of course, a lot of high school baseball and softball throughout the week as far as our play-by-play coverage is concerned. So stick around for that. Thanks for joining us. We'll do this again tomorrow morning at 7 here on Extreme Sports. Have yourself a great day.
You've been listening to Huddle Up on Extreme Sports, Central Nebraska's new home for sports. Join us every weekday morning from 7 until 8 on Extreme Sports.